They moved in silence, but their power came from something deeper than skill. Behind every precise strike, every vanished step was a mind forged in control, focus, and emotional stillness. Welcome to Valken. In today's episode, we uncover the hidden psychology of ninja training. We see how ancient warriors mastered not just their enemies, but their own minds. So, the first and foremost step is the silent mind. Before a ninja could wield a blade, he was taught to silence the noise within. The first enemy was never a rival, it was the mind that trembled at the idea of battle. Through Mokuso, the ancient practice of meditative stillness, ninjas trained themselves to observe without judgment. They sat in silence until their heartbeat aligned with the earth itself. Fear dissolved, thoughts became clear, and emotion lost their power. This silence wasn't peace, it was preparation. When you can quiet your inner voice, you hear what others miss. The faint rustle of movement, the breath of hesitation, the rhythm of life itself. The ninja learned that clarity, not courage, wins battles. Because in a world of noise, the man who remains calm controls the chaos. Which brings us to next step, the illusion of presence. The greatest trick of the ninja was not vanishing, it was never appearing. They mastered what the ancient called Kage no Kokoro, the shadow mind. It was the art of existing in plain sight yet remaining unnoticed. A psychological invisibility born not from magic but from awareness and control. Every movement, every breath, every step perfectly measured. They studied how humans perceive motion, how the brain filters light, and how attention drifts. By understanding how people see, they learned how to disappear within sight. To the untrained eye, they became part of the background, part of the silence itself. Modern psychology calls it attentional blindness, but to the ninja, it was mastery of presence. To exist only when you choose, to be seen only when it serves you. Which brings us to next step, the emotional neutrality, which is the ultimate weapon. The ninja's greatest strength was not speed or strength, it was emotional stillness. They practiced Fudoshin, the immovable mind. To feel nothing is not to be empty, it is to be free. Rage blinds judgment, fear presents instincts, excitement disrupts control, so they stripped away emotion one layer at a time until they stood in complete neutrality. A storm outside, but no movement within. They trained under freezing waterfalls, not for the cold, but for the reaction. Pain becomes a test of composure. Every hardship was designed to train one truth. He who controls his emotions controls his reality. Today, few can master this because everyone reacts. But the ninja, they responded, and that's the difference between those who survive and those who dominate. Which brings us to next step, the mind that predicts. Ninja studies movement until time itself slowed down. They understood that most men act after they think, but the ninja acts before he needs to think. This was not instinct, it was trained anticipation. Through pattern recognition, sound mapping, and energy awareness, they could sense intent before action. The twitch of a hand, the breath of before a strike, the silence before an attack all became signals. They learned to read the world like a script unfolding in slow motion. Modern science calls it flow state, when the mind and body merge perfectly in the moment. The ninja lived there. Every action was calculated yet effortless, like water flowing gravity. To them, combat was never chaos, it was choreography, and they already knew the steps. Which brings us to the next step, the art of disappearing. A ninja's final lesson was not about stealth, it was about ego death. To truly vanish, one must first erase himself. The greatest illusion was never to disappear from others' eyes, but from one's own identity. They let go of pride, anger, and the need to be seen. In doing so, they become unpredictable because ego creates patterns and patterns are predictable. When there is no I, there is no fear of death, no hesitation in decision. This is where their strength came from. A man with no self cannot be manipulated, cannot be broken, cannot be defeated. To disappear was to dissolve, and in that disappearance, they became limitless. Which brings us to the final step, the modern shadow. The ninja's true war was never against enemies, it was against weakness. Their real training was mental, emotional, and spiritual. In silence, they found focus. In stillness, they found strength. In emptiness, they found control. Modern life is the opposite, loud, chaotic, restless. We react, we chase, we speak before we think. But the code of the ninja whispers a forgotten truth. To master the world, first master yourself. You don't need a sword or shadow, you need discipline, awareness, and a silent mind. Because the ninja still exists not in forests or rooftops, but in those who live unseen, think deeper, and act only when necessary. The world trains your body, the ninja trains his mind.